one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Finish.
Miami. Listen. Game 6 is exactly why you don't doubt superstars, bro. This is exactly why you don't doubt him. HIMMY buckets, man. HIMMY buckets is him. Listen, welcome back to Kicking It with Saint. Appreciate you for joining me, man. Listen, I rarely say thank you to all my subscribers who done subscribe, but I do appreciate everybody who done subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everybody who watch, who share, who try to bring in new members and whatnot. We growing. Gonna continue to grow. The dreams and aspirations for the channel. You know, one day we're gonna be where we want to be, or at least on a great road getting to where we want to be. But for right now, we is here and we are enjoying it. But listen, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and I just want to start off by saying this game was just further proof to me as to why I am so very confused by this popular sports media. I'm listening to people's takes on Boston, man, and you listen to everybody and the way they talk. Boston the best team in the playoffs, basically. Boston haven't won a championship yet. Boston the best team in the playoffs. And you know, I told y'all I was confused when everybody was picking Dallas to beat the Warriors. Nick Wright's just bozo opinion aside, everybody else's reasoning for picking. Like, I was watching Brian Windhorst talk about how when people was picking the Warriors to beat the Mavs, he took that as a slight. Like, it's a clip out there. You can go find a clip. He was like, y'all can keep on doubting Luka Doncic if you want to. My boy, what are you? You see, I think of the media. The media is a problem. The sports media. And this narrative that they paint that one man does it by himself is just a god-awful narrative. Not only that, though, because they preach that narrative so much, they say that, and it's just stupid when they say stuff like that because they use that type of narrative to form the base of all their opinions, right? And so that's why they take shots at the fact that Steph Curry is a selfless superstar, because even though being a selfless superstar like Steph Curry could lead you to greater things and not easier path, but like look at the way Steph Curry play, right? Because of how selfless he is, it make it so much easier for him because everybody eats. He don't have to worry if somebody gonna step up when they supposed to or something like that, because anybody can step up on any given night. Because Steph Curry is so selfless, he allowed Klay Thompson to become Klay Thompson, Dre to become Dre. The freedom to be what you want to be and to be what you are on the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, like that don't happen if Steph Curry is a selfish superstar. But he allowed Kevin Durant to come here and he took a back seat so he could win, because the most important thing to Steph Curry is winning. The most important thing to some superstars and some stars is winning. But it's not just winning. It's how I win. If I win, I need to be the dude who received the most accolades for. Like, I need to be the leader of the winning. When we win, I need to be the one who they say led us to a championship. I need the finals MVPs. That's why Steph Curry can sleep great at night and not worry about stuff like that. Does he want those individual hardware? I'm pretty sure. But he clearly is proven he's willing to sacrifice that in order to win at the highest level. And that's, to me, the media shame him for that. But then you bitch and complain about how Luka, LeBron, and all these other superstars don't have help. LeBron James, you paint it as if he won all those titles by himself. And I'm talking about Brian Windhorst and a lot of other people, but Brian Windhorst specifically, because he covered LeBron throughout all those times. And I remember the day when he said LeBron would laugh and say a whole bunch of stuff if he heard people comparing Steph Curry to him. But that's wild to me, because he and Steph Curry are the greatest players of this generation. And I don't understand, because people love to try to put Kevin Durant over Curry for some reason, and I just don't see how that is a thing. I've never seen how that's a thing, even more so now. But I think Brian Windhorst is so stuck in, LeBron carried this, carried that, carried. LeBron had Kyrie, Kevin Love, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and you can name a whole bunch of great role players that was on those championship teams LeBron won with. Even on some of the championship teams he lost with. But for some reason, everybody painted as LeBron did it by himself. And so when LeBron continued to move from situation to situation, unlike Steph Curry, who was willing to sit in his situation and trust in his organization and everybody around him to do their parts and getting better, LeBron decided to get up and leave situations, that's his right. It's no problem. I have no problem with LeBron leaving Miami, leaving Cleveland twice. I have no problem with that no problem whatsoever. However, when you do that, you cannot then say, it's the organization. Like LeBron James was leaving teams in terrible conditions when he was leaving them. Which, listen, that's his prerogative to not want to play with teams that he think don't give him a chance to win. But listen, if LeBron James go to the Lakers and just put up with that season of them developing like Curry put up with those 2 seasons of his young dudes developing, imagine how much better the Lakers would be right now with Alonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James. Think of how much better that team would be. So you shit on Curry for making his route easier by willing to sacrifice and truly be a selfless leader. Because I think Curry is the greatest leader I've ever seen in the sports. His selflessness to be able to allow other people to have the opportunities to be great and not needing all of the... He understands that I'm going to get credit if we win anyways. I don't have to be the guy. That's why everybody can do the, can back Curry up for him. Us Curry fans will be the ones who say he should have won Finals MVP and he should have won one when he had KD. We'll do that for him because he's securing his legacy and in himself to where he don't care about that. And I'm not saying other superstars who don't do what Curry do is the same way. I'm not. But it's no coincidence that LeBron James, every chance he get, bring up why he think he the GOAT. I'm just saying, that's somebody who wants you to talk about his legacy. Who I don't know if he's secure or not in his legacy, but I do know that he wants you to know about it. And he talking. I'm one of those people who really have never heard somebody who consider themselves the GOAT ever say it. Like Jordan never had to say it. Kobe never said it. Curry don't have to say it. Magic don't say, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have a problem with LeBron doing that, but it do tell me that he is concerned with that type of thing. And listen, all players could be concerned with it, but he is vocally, and I don't have a problem with that either, but it's just, I'm telling you the contrast in the styles of 2 defining players of this generation. To me, the way Steph Curry did it was, I'm so secure in myself and how I revolutionized the game with the 3-point shot and all this, that I trust my coach, my organization, and the players around me to where I don't have to be a one-on-one demon every fucking, because that gets tiresome, that gets old, your body breaks down, and that is not how you want to play, and that is not how you age gracefully. The way Steph Curry has played has allowed other people around him to age gracefully, to become what they are supposed to. They haven't even had James Wiseman play yet, and he was one of their first picks. He was a lottery pick for them. He haven't even suited up to play for them yet, and they already back in the NBA Finals, bro. That does not come without great leadership and having a selfless superstar. And listen, LeBron did it his way. He would prefer to make sure he had the vets and the superstar players readily. I'm not mad at him for wanting to play with Dwayne and Wade and Bosh and Kyrie and Love and Anthony Davis. I'm not mad at that. I got no problems with that. That's how he decided to do it, and this is how Curry decided to do it. But we see the way Curry has decided to do it, it's done made his route, his aging, far more gracefully and easier. LeBron James now is relying on an injury-prone Anthony Davis, or hoping that the Lakers can find a way to flip Russell Westbrook or flip the trade to bring over another superstar player. If you ask LeBron James which situation he would have right now, I promise you he would take the Golden State route. But see, that take a lot of trust and patience that LeBron just feel like he don't have. And like I said, there's no problem with that. But it's just the two contrast of, to me, the two best players of this generation. But getting back to the Miami series, Jimmy fucking Butler, who is to me one of the best players in this generation. Now he ain't LeBron or Steph. Nobody to me is on LeBron and Steph's level. However, Jimmy Butler is a fucking star, superstar, and I will die on that hill. I do not know why he does not get the credit he deserves. I am clueless to it. I done spoke of his accolades multiple times on here. But for some reason, people still ain't hearing it. Jimmy Butler goes out there tonight and drops 47 in an elimination game to send the series back to Miami in a game 7. Big dog type shit. Big dog type shit. And he was giving it to him in all type of ways tonight. Got inside for the foul. Get the mid-range. 3-point game was going. In transition, he was able to score. Like, Jimmy Butler did it in a lot of different ways. And I really do want to give Jimmy Butler a lot of credit and talk about Jimmy Butler. But y'all know how I feel about Jimmy Butler. And the thing that I still do not. I'm still keeping with my pick Miami in 7. Even though I don't know, like, because I talk more about the Boston, what's going on with Boston. But I want to talk about Jimmy, but I just cannot talk about him at this. I can't, like, because I really, something else is just pressing to me, bro. And I done talked about it multiple times on here. But Bam Adebayo is a fucking problem. And not in the good way, as in like, oh man, this dude is a problem. Like, oh man, like Steph Curry said Ja Morant was a problem. No, not in that way. Bam Adebayo is a problem in the sense of, I believe he is making what, I don't talk about people's money, but they paying him way too much for what he is doing right now. And it's no way that he can be, like, right now, Bam is playing so bad, he is not the second best player on his team, and that's his role. I can't see, bro. It is no way Miami wins a championship with Bam Adebayo, because Jimmy Butler is having to when you have to rely on Jimmy Butler to go out there and give you 47 fucking points because Bam Adebayo just does not give you anything. That is a problem when he's supposed to be your second best player. Kyle Lowry. Great bounce back game for Kyle Lowry tonight. Great bounce back game for Kyle Lowry, even though he fouled out towards the end of the game. Great bounce back game for him. Jimmy Butler, after those 2 or 3 rough games, great bounce back game for Jimmy. I trusted Jimmy. I had no concerns. Jimmy Butler is him. HIMMY Butler. But this motherfucker Bam Adebayo. So y'all already know how I feel about the guards. Like, Strauss had missed 14 straight 3-pointers before he finally started hitting some of them bitches tonight. But as soon as he started hitting at least 1 or 2, the motherfuckers start going up court launching atrocious 3-point shots. Like, pulling some of the worst, like, bro. And I don't understand. And I don't understand what Eric Spoelstra is doing over there on the sideline, because Eric Spoelstra is one of the great coaches. And I don't understand how he continued to let this dude have his battery in his back to pull these just god-awful 3-pointers. Because this is ruining possessions. I mean, this is wasting possessions. Miami went up big in this game at one point in time tonight, late in the third quarter. And Boston got right back into the game because Strauss decided to launch a bunch of dumbass shots. Like, I don't understand how he keep getting away with doing this shit. Especially when he shoot the ball so fucking poor. But on top of Strauss, because Strauss is not even my biggest problem as far as, like, what he was doing. I have that because what Strauss did, the same problem I'm mentioning about Strauss, Vincent be doing that same shit. Like, Miami's guards have a problem with shooting atrocious. Miami's guards have a problem with shooting just awful fucking shots. And they have a problem with missing wide open fucking shots. Then they have a problem where they somehow hit these wild shots, and then they'll start taking just god-awful shots, and it put them in bad positions. And it feel like it constantly is wasting Jimmy Butler's effort. But with that being said about the guards, to me, the biggest problem for Miami that I just cannot ignore is Bam Adebayo, bro. He does not look to score. It was moments in the game tonight where he is at the top of the key, or he have a wide open lane to a basket, or he could just face up his guy instead of holding the ball trying to wait to pass it off to somebody. If he worked as hard as he do to try to pass the ball to actually score, Miami would have probably won this series or had a way better showing in some of these games than they've had. Because the fact that Jimmy Butler got to go out there and exhaust himself, because Bam Adebayo gives you absolutely fucking nothing, especially in the clutch moments of these games where he finds ways expertly to make himself fucking visible, is beyond me. Bam Adebayo cannot beat Al Horford one-on-one right now. He's not strong enough to take on Al Horford one-on-one, which is unbelievable. When he's not strong enough to take on Al Horford, you would think he have enough moves in his bag to be able to still get that bucket one-on-one. He cannot. He loses the ball a lot. When he has a wide open look at the top of the key, where it's a mid-range shot, or if he even want to step back and take a three-pointer, he never looks to take that shot. He's never even looking at the basket. He is always looking to pass. And even when Boston has already locked down both of his pass outlets, he will still stand there wasting time off of the clock instead of just putting that ball down, putting his head down and facing up and trying to go get a bucket or shooting that shot right there. He will continue to stand there and try to pass the ball off to somebody. I do not understand how this man is this fucking unaggressive. When the game, bro, your season on the line and this motherfucker wasn't trying to score. I said it during the game. Look at how Jaylen Brown, how aggressive Jaylen Brown is. I don't think Jaylen Brown is a great shooter. I don't even think Jaylen Brown is a great scorer. But I think Jaylen Brown is so aggressive that it make up for the fact that he might not be the greatest shooter or the most talented scorer. Because he hunt for shots. Like, he will go hunt for shots. And now maybe that's because Tatum is unaggressive at times, or just the way they play. But Jaylen Brown is ultra. I think Jaylen Brown is more aggressive on a consistent basis than Jason Tatum is at times. Because Jason Tatum started the game strong. He had a little spurt in the game where he played good. And then towards the end of the game, he died out again. He really didn't give you much on that attack end. And Jaylen Brown just was missing shots and losing the ball and shit. Like, I don't know why Jaylen Brown loses the ball so much and gets stripped so much. But to me, if you put Jaylen Brown's engine inside of Bam Adebayo and his aggressiveness to want to look for shots, Miami would be a way better team. Because they right now have a dude on the court who technically cannot guard the way they need him to guard because of the actions that Boston constantly put him in. When he guard, it's usually going to turn into a foul or something, or he's going to move out of the way because Miami is immediately having Boston's guards go right at them when they find themselves one-on-one. Like, Tatum, Brown, Smart go right at Strauss and all these other guards. The only one they ain't going straight at is Jimmy Butler. But all the other guards that they have in front of them, they go right at. So Bam Adebayo is usually not even in the picture or has no effect on the play other than a late. Because I cannot tell you how many times, in my mind, I'm trying to think of how many times Bam done had weak side blocks or anything like that on drives. I can't think of none. It's almost as if he is as invisible in these moments too. So you lost me on that. So his defense to me is not of that much of a use. He a decent rebounder, but he ain't nothing special right now. It's not like he rebounded and is flipping the series, because I think Boston, I haven't even looked at the rebound numbers, but Boston do a great job rebounding. And then another thing about his defense, he's not making a difference defensively like a Robert Williams is on the other end, or a Grant Williams has made on the other end. Like, he is not making the impact that those two dudes is making. And those two dudes are not even as talented. No disrespect to those two dudes, but they're not even as talented as a Bam Adebayo. But because they are more dedicated and more aggressive in their craft, they look like way better players than Bam in this series right now. So you take away his defense. You take away the fact that he don't look to score, like, at all. Like, I'm talking about bro, dude could legitimately take the ball, drop step, do anything. He could get into it, like, he could not drop step, but he could legitimately face up his dude, take that shot, or hit him with a move, back him down, anything. He don't. He just stand there and try to pass the ball. That is a problem. That is a problem. Especially when you're supposed to be the second best scorer on the team and you're supposed to be the second best player on the team, and we look for you to score the ball. fuck, we can't even worry about you missing shots because you won't take them. Like, that is, to me, that is a massive problem with Bam Adebayo. And the fact that, see, you can fix a problem with a player who shoots shots and miss them. You can fix that because they're willing to shoot shots. It is very hard to fix it, though, if the player is not willing to take the shots. That's like the people was talking about with Ben Simmons. His unwillingness to take the shots. Now, they could have still handled that situation better, but if you're not willing to take the shot, that's a bigger problem than taking the shot and missing it. Because if you're not going to take the shot, then now we got a serious problem. And that's what they having with Bam, I think, right now. And they might not even notice it. I don't know how they don't notice it. To me, it's no way. Because you can't have Bam go out there. Jimmy Buckets go out there and give you 47 fucking points in an elimination game. And he still barely had to give everything he had to hold on because Bam gives you basically nothing. And just imagine if Bam could just give you 15, 20 points, bruh. How much easier this game would have been for them tonight. You probably wouldn't even need it you probably would not have even needed 47 points from Jimmy Butler. But because Bam is so useless right now, respectfully, he is useless on the court right now for Miami. Like, you cannot look at none of these games until you take away his one great game in that series in which he played good. He has been of no use to Miami the majority of this series, bruh. Like, Miami is fighting a war between him and the Celtics because this dude is bringing them nothing. He get called for moving screens and shit. And I'm not even as aggressive on those screens as other people trying to be act like. Like, I don't think he out there setting just god-awful screens. Like, they called him for a moving screen on one of his screens tonight, and what motherfucker didn't even move. I think the officiating done been god-awful in this series, too. Like, obviously, you know how I feel about officiating. I think officiating in the NBA is the worst. Not worse than college basketball, but college basketball, I don't watch college basketball because of the officiating. And I don't like watching NBA regular season games no more because of the officiating. So, do with that what you will. But I didn't stop watching the whole sport because of the officiating. So, that's why I say college basketball is by far the worst. But I don't like the officiating in this series either. I think the officiating done been terrible in this series too. Tonight, what I'll say is, I think that Boston wasn't allowed to have... For one, Boston started off the game with the free throw margin, a wide free throw margin, but as the game continued on, it got closer. So I think tonight the difference in a lot of these games was, for one, Miami finally hit some shots tonight with Miami players not named Jimmy Butler. But the other thing that happened tonight was I felt like, and I could be wrong, but to me it just felt like the referees did not allow Boston to be the only team that was allowed to play aggressive defense. Like tonight, they allowed both teams to play aggressive defense. And towards the end of the game, they started being ticky-tacky as a motherfucker with the foul calls. Excuse me. Which I think they was doing that throughout the game anyways. But just at the end of the game, this stop, start. Like, this shit is ridiculous, bro. The referees legit. When it happened, I thought to myself, oh, here come the moment for the referees to act a fucking nut and make the game about themselves. It's like they can't help it. If there is a moment to make the game about themselves, they are going to take it. They're not passing those type of opportunities up. It's just not going to happen. On top of the difference in the referees, how they was allowing the game to be, how the game was not officiated really, but based off of the fact I thought they let Miami play a little bit more, even though they was, like I said, they was calling some bad calls on Miami early. I do think the game started to even out a little bit, unlike they have been in some of these past games for Boston. This is a big win for Miami. Now, I still think it's going to be tough for Miami to win at home for the simple reason I've seen how bad they can play at home. Plus, even with this win, I did not feel confident in a lot of what was going on with Miami because they still have some stretches where they just cannot find ways to score with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler had to play the entire second half of this game to just have this team remain consistent scoring-wise. And I don't even think it was just a matter of him scoring as much as it was he had to continue to be on the floor to be that threat, so the defense of the Celtics would have to continue to play a certain type of way. And so, and then I'm talking about Bam. A quick thing on PJ. For one, I say too many dudes on Miami just pass up wide open shots, and it's wild with these guards because they pass up wide open shots a lot, or they just miss wide open shots and then try to launch bad shots. But PJ Tucker, I understand PJ Tucker is not on the floor for his scoring. Like I know that you don't sign PJ Tucker is not on the floor for you to count how many points he can score. PJ Tucker as scoring points for you is a bonus. You want PJ Tucker on the floor for his energy, his defense, which PJ Tucker is a great defender. The way he can agitate the best player on the other team and all that type of stuff. However, PJ Tucker is also a good three-point shooter from the side, from the corners. PJ Tucker cannot continue to just continuously pass up wide open corner three-pointers. And when I say wide open, I'm not necessarily saying there's nobody near him. Bro, when you got like a quick 2-3 seconds of wide open space where you can easily launch a three-pointer, you have to launch that shot, bro. Like, I think if they took more shots that they have available to them, that would take a lot of pressure off of Jimmy Butler. Because for one, what PJ Tucker is doing in some of these chances where he refused to take these three-pointers, he would act like he about to take it, and the defense will get home and they won't even buy the fake. So that put him in an even tougher situation because now he got to put the ball on the floor and try to make something happen. He put the ball on the floor, and since he just passed out of a wide open shot or turned down an open shot, now Boston's defense done got back home on everybody. Now PJ Tucker either going to pass the ball, continue the overpassing of the ball, or he is going to turn it over. That's what's been happening most of the time with the overpassing and turning away open shots in order to overpass the ball. It lead to turnovers or continuous overpassing that lead to a late shot in the shot clock. That's a miss. And PJ Tucker, like I said, I understand he is not on the floor for his scoring, but it would be such a bonus to Jimmy and his health if you would take your open three-pointers from the corner, my guy. Like, I don't agree with you just here for that. Like, I understand that's the biggest reason you on the floor, so I'm not going to be mad if you take 6, 7, 8 shots and you don't make a single one of them, as long as you're deep. But just take the shots is what I'm saying. Like, they keep passing up these good shots, and it's making it tougher on them. And I don't understand. And I think they done got so accustomed to overpassing that they not even realizing they got some of these shots that's wide open. For Bam, it's different, though, because this dude is just refusing to be aggressive as a scorer. And then when he chooses to be aggressive, like I said, he can't beat Al Horford one-on-one. And he taking terrible shots. Like, I'm being dead-ass serious when I'm telling you right now. He feels as useless as a DeAndre Jordan right now without Chris Paul, who can throw him lobs left and right. That's how he feeling in this series. And I'm doing everything in my power not to get disrespectful. I'm trying. But the way Bam has played in this series, bro, to me this has been an indictment on Bam Adebayo, bro. Like, it's no way Pat Riley is looking at this series and is confident. Even if they can find a way to get a win in Miami, I don't know how you go into Golden State in the finals. And you're confident, aside from Jimmy Butler if Jimmy Butler can go off. But I think Golden State a completely different team from Boston, because Boston, one thing about Boston is, I talk about Jaylen Brown being aggressive and whatnot. He might not be the greatest scorer, the greatest shooter, but because he is aggressive and he hunt his shots, it make him that much more lethal of a player because, like I said before, he got the audacity to go out there and actually take certain shots and whatnot. And it's not like outlandish shots either, but he willing to go out there and take shots and miss them. Marcus Smart is also willing to do it, but I kind of think they let Marcus Smart take way too many three-point shots. Like, Marcus Smart is taking deep three-point shots. And I think he only hit one of the three-pointers he attempted tonight. Marcus Smart, I understand he is also not on the floor for his scoring. But if you're telling me that the only two players on the floor for Boston that's on the floor for their scoring is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, then that is exactly why I cannot pick these dudes to go in and beat the Golden State Warriors. Because I cannot rely on just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, for one, shooting the ball at a high clip or at a good percentage all throughout those games and not struggling. That's one. Two, that you cannot beat Golden State with just those two, in my opinion. But that's why I say you can't just tell me that those are the only two who supposed to go on the floor for their scoring. Marcus Smart can score, but I just think he's taking a lot of bad shots right now. Like, he don't need to take 6, 7, 8, 9 threes a game, especially when you missing over half of them. Marcus Smart will have those games where he is hot from downtown, but you don't want him just out there launching three-pointers and whatnot. I would much prefer him penetrating and trying to get somebody open on the outside with his penetration, or him attacking the basket like he did tonight at certain points in time. But him just launching three-pointers tonight, to me, I don't know. To me, that's not. I don't feel like that's something that they should. Like, I think they're getting away with it right now because of how bad Miami is scoring on the other end at times. But you shooting those bad three-pointers, man, and you giving Golden State an opportunity to go back down on the other end and capitalize on all those missed three-pointers, and you could be looking at a completely different game and a completely different lead. So that's my concern with Boston's offense. Also, to me, Boston's offense, while they do a lot of moving and hitting on the open man and whatnot, is built off of the penetration that they can cause. I think that a big reason they can do that right now is because of how atrocious Miami's defense is at times, especially the guards. Boston is just straight up attacking these guards. These guards have nothing for them right now. Plus, Boston get a lot of calls against these dudes. However, with that, they still I just don't know if you can rely on that. Because like I said earlier, people is saying Boston is basically the best team left in the playoffs, but I just don't see that. I do think they are the second best team slightly because Miami's health, and because I just think Bam Adebayo is just not it. Just not it. But I also believe, as great as they are, they can be had, and Miami is showing it. Miami is not even 100%, and they done took them to Game 7. They done took these boys to Game 7 and had 2 bad games from Jimmy Butler. They had multiple bad games from that backcourt in Bam Adebayo, and still in Game 6 in Boston was able to get a win. If that's not telling you something is flawed and something is wrong with Boston, I don't know what is. Like, this was not a situation where, if they don't close out tonight, it's another chance to close out later like Golden State had. No. If we don't close out tonight, our next opportunity to close out, if we don't win that, then we are going home. This ain't we won 3 games and they only done won 1, so we got multiple opportunities. No. This was the breathing room right here. And so it was like I was saying earlier, I hear everybody in the media, sports media, and what they're saying about Boston, but I just don't really truly think that the people in the media is looking at Boston as a whole. Like, they looking at Boston at their best. I don't think they truly looking at what's going on right now. And I know people are going to say injuries and whatnot, but Marcus Smart is still out there playing a lot of minutes. So I don't know if you can keep blaming injuries. And then nothing look like it's wrong with Al Horford. Like, Al Horford looks fine. So I don't know if you can keep. Now, Robert Williams is hurt, but he out there playing good minutes. Grant Williams out there playing good minutes. So I don't know how much you can keep attributing this to injuries for the Celtics. To me, the Celtics are just not getting it done. And to me, not Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been on the floor every single game of this series. Every single game of this series, those two have played. So I'm just not really a fan of those injury type of excuses, especially when you consider Bam Adebayo has not played good in this series. He's had 1 good game, and somehow, some way, this series is still headed to 7 games. With Miami's backcourt shooting as atrocious as they did the previous 2-3 games, somehow, some way, this series is still headed to 7 games. That's unreal. Now, I appreciate the basketball guys for that, because now we got something to watch on Sunday night. But to me, that's unbelievable. And then you leave it up to chance, not really to chance, but you go into Miami. You never know how big of an effect that crowd could have on you in this Game 7. I understand you don't won in Miami before, but the Bucks won in Boston before, and I said in that series, I still think it would be hard for them to win a Game 7 because of the Boston environment in Game 7. To me, Miami is a crowd, even while I'm not the biggest of fans of the Miami crowd. Miami is a crowd that's done been to the finals and experienced these big moments. So I truly believe Miami's crowd is going to show up in Game 7. So that's going to be something that you got to fight against. And it was deafening in the Celtics arena tonight. Like, it was times in this game where I'm not even at the game, bro. I'm watching the game through my through the TV and whatnot. And it feel like my fucking TV rocking and whatnot. Like, that's how loud it felt. Like, I can't even hear the announcers talking and shit like that because of how loud it is. And I feel like that truly do have an effect on players because that shit get loud, and I guarantee you players start to feel that in some way, type, form, or fashion. And so when you think about the fact that you might have to deal with that, no, you're not might. You're going to be dealing with that when you go back to Miami for Game 7 with a crowd that understand we've been here, done this before, and we understand the moment. That's going to be hard for a team like the Celtics, who are not led by champions. And yes, they did just win a Game 7, but that was in Boston. And yes, it was against Giannis Antetokounmpo. But he didn't have Chris Middleton. And like I said again, that was in Boston. Now this is a Game 7 in Miami. This is completely different from Game 4 in Miami or whatever other games in Miami. This is Game 7 in Miami. So now, while Boston, people might feel like Boston a better team even if they end up losing this series, but now you don't leave it up to who the best team, because if you were the better team, you would have won this series before it got to a Game 7. Now you don't leave it up to who the better team is. You leave it up to Miami could just go absolutely nuclear from three-pointer in Game 7. Miami not even the better team, but all these dudes who've been shooting like shit throughout the series for Miami can absolutely go on an absolute shooting spree. That is the absolute wrong term in these type of times. They could get absolutely hot from downtown or just be hot all around from the floor in Game 7. And now you didn't lose because you was the worst team, but you lost because you caught this team in a Game 7 and they got absolutely hot in their building with the crowd on their side. So this is a bad loss to me, in my opinion, for Boston, because you had to get it done in this game. Not only that, you get 5 days of rest to heal up to go take on the Warriors. Now I believe they're going to end up getting either 2 or 3 days of rest before they go play Game 1 against Golden State in Golden State. And now you got to travel back to Miami. Even if you win in Miami, you have to travel back to Boston, then to San Francisco. Like, everything was there for the taking tonight. The game was close down the stretch. They hit big three-pointers down the stretch. Kyle Lowry hit a big fucking three-pointer to respond to a three-pointer that was hit on the other end by Derek White, I believe it was, who hit the three. Derek White had a fucking game tonight, too. And also, is Derek White going to show up and have that type of game in Game 7 in Miami that he had tonight in Boston with the crowd feeding him? Like, with he had all that energy from the crowd. Anything he did, the crowd got fucking loud for him. You're not gonna get that in Miami, so hard to waste a game like this if you Boston. And on top of wasting a game like this, because now you leave it up to chance when you have to go back into Miami. But my problem with Jason Tatum, this is why I say I'm so confused as to what to really call him at the moment. I know he's a star, but like, it's just, he plays so decent throughout this game and throughout parts of this game, but then when it mattered the most, he's not really showing up for you. Like Jaylen Brown taking a lot of shots and whatnot. But it just felt like Jason Tatum really didn't put his stamp on this fourth quarter like you would want Jason Tatum to put his stamp on this fourth quarter. Even if you lose, you would prefer that he go down with the ship. But it felt like Derek White played a big part in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart had some plays, I guess. The inside game, they was able to feed their centers inside multiple times because of defensive breakdowns by Miami. But it just don't feel like Jason Tatum really played a huge part at the end of this game like a Jimmy Butler did for Miami. And that's one of my problems when it comes to, and I keep saying this when it comes to Jason Tatum, it's these unexpected duds that he give you. and where his numbers can be skewed at the end of a game because it looked like, oh, he put up some pretty good numbers, but then you go back and look and you're like, he really didn't dominate or play great in that fourth quarter, in the important pivotal moments of this game. Like, he kind of, he didn't pull a Bam out of Bayou where he completely disappeared, but it's like I said in that other game in this series, like, bro, you took 14 fucking shots. The other night he took fucking he took 17 shots in the first half the other night. Or was it he took 17 shots and all? Either way, I was complaining about, not necessarily complaining, but I was making a point of how, I need you to take more shots in this. You cannot lose and try to protect your shooting percentage and shit like that by just not shooting. You're the best player on this team. You're supposed to be the face of this franchise. You want to be considered a superstar. Superstars continue to shoot. They go down with the ship. If Steph Curry go out there and say, oh, man, I done missed my last 6 shots. I'm going to stop shooting now. I'm going to just let somebody else shoot. No. That's paying attention to the social media too much. That's paying attention to the media too much. No, bro, you got to keep shooting. So that's my problem with Tatum here when he do that here and there. But tonight, I just felt like Tatum just really did not have an impact at the end of this game the way you would want Jason Tatum to have an impact at the end of this game. And Jaylen Brown go on these hot streaks. And I always figure that the law of averages will average out and Jaylen Brown will eventually go cold. Because that seemed to happen with some of these, Jaylen Brown either going to go nuclear and cool off, or he going to be spotty and that's what he going to be all game. It's really no in-betweens with, because even some of his best games, he still have absolute cold streaks at moments in those games. The best Jaylen Brown is when he start to peak in the third quarter, because then he can carry that out throughout the fourth. Because when he aggressive in the fourth, I think that really do change the Celtics. Obviously, it change him if Jason Tatum is aggressive, but that's my thing. Too many times I have to question Jason Tatum's, aggressiveness, if you will, at times. And that might not be the right word, but I'm just saying, Jason Tatum to me really was not enough for Boston. Didn't show up enough for Boston in that fourth quarter. And it's pretty wild because the only reason I could even tell that he wasn't there is because it's how can y'all not take this game in which I understand what Jimmy Butler is doing? Bam is giving them nothing. It is literally a one-man show, and they is sending Hail Marys up when everybody else shoot the shot. And still, they could not get that game home in Boston. That's pretty wild to me. That is pretty wild to me. And like I said, obviously I picked Miami in 7. And, I lost faith for a little bit and it wasn't because of Jimmy. Like I said multiple times throughout these breakdowns, the Miami guards, to me, are so bad, bruh. I legit was thinking, once I realized Miami was going to win this game, I sat down and I say, man, if these motherfuckers win Game 7, now I'm intrigued about what they could possibly do against Golden State. Because I know they wouldn't be able to score still, but I'm intrigued on how, because I'm literally sitting back and wondering to myself, how in the fuck is this series going to 7 games? Because Boston is so very clearly the better team. But HIMMY Buckets is so very clearly, in my opinion, the best player. And the way people talk about how these other great players have guys around them who don't show up and people make that a big deal, I just don't think people done that for Jimmy Butler. Because like I said, if you look at Jimmy Butler in Miami, it's no way you look at Bam Adebayo and you don't walk away from this shit saying, what the fuck is going on with Bam Adebayo? He is giving Jimmy Butler in Miami nothing. I dead ass think, and I don't think it's going to happen, if I was Miami, I would try to trade Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero to Philadelphia for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid and Jimmy clearly love each other. They like each other. They want to play together. And I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite bromances in sports right now is Shaq and Steph Curry. Because I feel like Shaq feels about Steph Curry the way I feel. Like, that's my favorite favorite player in basketball. I didn't want you to sound like a dumbass, Shaq. My bad, big dog. But yeah, I fuck with that relationship, bro. That's vibes. I love it when great players acknowledge other great players' greatness. Ain't gotta be no hatings. You be seeing all these dudes hating on Steph Curry. That motherfucker Shaq greater than all these haters that be hating on Steph. Motherfucker say that's my favorite player. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. He ride for his guy Steph, and I fuck with that. But hold up real fast. Yo, I saw that picture on Twitter every time Kendrick Lamar drop an album, Steph Curry win a championship. And Kendrick dropped one this year. Let's hope. But the Miami, when you look at the fact that Miami, because like I said, Miami against Golden State would be very intriguing to me because Miami is not the better team. But like I said, HIMMY Buckets is him. And so look at the fact that this motherfucker had 2 or 3 bad games in this series. And fucking Boston is still somehow, some way in a game 7. I done heard all the stats about, Boston done been the better team throughout yada, yada, yada quarters. And I seen Stephen A. say Jimmy Butler can't be the best player on a championship team and all this other shit that they was talking about on First Take this morning. I seen it all. And I'm here to tell you right now, even if HIMMY Buckets lose this series with Miami, I can go back in this series and tell you straight up, if you give him anything from Bam Adebayo in most of these games, they win this series before they get to Game 7. But Bam Adebayo has been the fucking invisible man throughout every game but one in this series. He just haven't given you meaningful buckets, enough buckets, any type of aggressiveness to make the defense actually hone in on him and Jimmy. Like they legitimately is putting one dude on him and saying, yeah, you can handle him. He ain't got nothing for us. That's tragic. That's tragic. Because Boston could come out in Game 7 and actually play their best game. And they probably could not have to actually play their best game. Just be consistent or something. Boston go through just as many bad shooting stretches as Miami. It just don't look as bad as Miami's. But I think Boston throw away a lot of possessions too with some of the bad shot selections they allow Marcus Smart to take at times also. And I don't think Boston overpassed the ball at times. I just think they get a little sloppy here and there. But I do expect, listen, logically, I thought Boston was going to win this series anyways. But like I said, fuck a Boston. I got Heat in 7, and I'm trusting that the Heat will still get it done. But now that finals thing going to be interesting. Like Udonis Haslam with Jerry Mon motivated them saying they thought the Celtics was going to be in there. Now Miami motivated. So if Jimmy Butler can get this fucking team, like I hope that Jimmy, because I just know this motherfucker is exhausted. I know Jimmy is exhausted, man. I just hope that everybody else on Miami show up to the fucking party on Sunday night, man. Like, it don't even, like, bro, I'm okay with Miami losing. Just don't go out there and do that, like, shooting terrible. Like, and one of my things with Miami, too, is they guards would prefer to just continuously shoot bad shots, miss open shots, rather than just trying to take the ball inside. Now, granted, listen, I get it. These dudes are not beating dudes one-on-one and shit like that. And if Tyler Hero play, that could give them a nice little... Because even though Tyler Hero done been god-awful in this series also, I'm just imagining a Game 7 in Miami, they will step up and be ready for a Game 7 in Miami. So I'm telling you right now, I'm taking Miami to win it in Game 7. And with that, I appreciate you for joining me. We're going to be back, man. I'm about to eventually start the series on predicting the each team, NFL team's record for the 2022-23 season. And when we get done predicting each and every one of those teams, division, conferences, we're going to do the prediction for who I think going to get to the playoffs, the Super Bowl, all that good shit. So, appreciate you for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Keep sending up them Hail Marys. for the loved ones and the families who lost somebody in that tragedy by that piece of shit who decided to go up there and ruin the lives of those people and families at Robb Elementary School. But I really hope is that we can find a way to get these jackasses out of office who just refuse to give a lick of fucking, or who refuse to fucking care about anybody but themselves. But I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Saying out.
How the fuck I pay a couple card notes and ain't even whipping? How the fuck I'm putting food on the table while I ain't living? Cursed from being alone with these dreams of a happy home. So when I think it's really love, I give them anything they want. I got stupid shit I did as a kid defining me lately. When I try to open up a new chapter, they still hate me. My mental, my only drug, so I'm doing this shit alone. Last time I fought depression and she got me on my zone. One bad move for thuggery, hit record from luxury. Pop said some shit that stuck with me. All it takes is a mustard seed. Yesterday I copped $40 a pot those. Homie